Sage Labs, how can we make our own strategy? What factors do we need to take into account? Well, based on the Atlas Brew, the variables to take into account for labs are the hardness, the richness, the variety of resources in general, the variety of resources that we can find in asteroids and celestial bodies, the recipes and elements, all its ingredients, the relationship between cargo and traveling, how cargo affects time traveling and costs and everything else, the actions we take and the associated costs, the crafting and harvesting, and player versus market opportunity costs. In Sage Labs, we have to optimize our fleets and maximize time and the resources we want to get, but there will be many ways to engage in labs. You can play, for example, in an easy way, just experimenting, trying things and learning from experience and doing what you like to do. Or you can be someone who wants to make the most profit by optimizing as much as possible, looking for the best relation between costs and time when getting resources and accumulating things. Or you can play for the future of Star Atlas, for example, going after components, getting infrastructure elements that will help you in the future gameplay of Star Atlas and Sage. Or you can be a soldier of fortune, going after golden tickets, or going after rare recipes and elements that will take longer times to produce. And to reach those objectives, you need to have in mind that the galaxy is big and that there are very intelligent people playing the game at the same time as you and trying to make the best decisions and doing the optimal path in the gameplay and in Gallia. So we need to take into account how ships perform individually and the rules for creating fleets. And if we are thinking about creating fleets by mixing ships, some of the stats of the whole fleet will be dragged down if we mix ships in a random way in a single fleet. And we must also understand the map of Gallia. There are 51 sectors with star systems, and there will be celestial bodies with up to 2 different resources, and the resources in the mod space have a different distance between star bases than the Ustur space and the Oni space. Also important to know is that resource hardness is fixed for each resource. For example, copper will always have the same hardness in all star systems where it can be found, but richness may be different. So maybe richness is not so good near the central space station, while maybe it is better farther away. So we will need to take that into account too and make some decisions based on the costs associated with the distance and other things. So we need to explore the world and understand the different planets of the galaxy and the distances and understand mining costs and times and understand crafting recipes and ingredients and crafting times, and we need to come up with a strategy. Some recipes are complex and they require minutes to produce an item, but other recipes take like 1 second, and maybe the complex recipes require ingredients from everywhere in the galaxy or some other crafted products. So we will have to take those things into account if we want to optimize things. And it will be very easy to mess up in labs because, for example, if your fleet is full of fuel, then when you go harvesting, you won't have enough cargo space for the resources. So you can bring too much fuel or maybe not enough fuel and you can get stranded out of fuel and you lose all your cargo, plus the fees to respawn and the time you lose. Also, you must take into account other costs, like, for example, there is a fuel cost associated with entering an asteroid field when you're going to mine, and another fuel cost to go out of that asteroid field when you finish. And also, there may be other costs we need to pay attention to. So, it will require some analysis, which may be just simple calculations based on experience while playing, like, for example, calculations of what you spent in total when mining, traveling, crafting, and so on, and compare it to the price of the crafted product in the marketplace. Or you can try more advanced things, like you can use a spreadsheet and take all data into account and do all type of calculations and try to master the game, optimizing everything and trying to maximize profits. And there are many possibilities in between of those. Then also, we are all different and we have different playstyles, different ways of playing the game. Some playstyles are more efficient for small fleets and some are more efficient for different ship sizes. It's not clear if one is better than the others. All playstyles are valid, and they are different parts of a big and efficient machine, which will be Sage Labs. So it's up to you to deciding what you will be doing, what you will be mining, crafting, and what you will do in general is very important to play the game. But then another thing that may be important too is that it can be fun and even good sometimes to go randomly exploring and mining and crafting some crazy recipes and exploring the different possibilities and discovering that the game is huge and that there are so many combinations. So we can do it that way sometimes too, and in other moments we can do calculations and analysis and a lot of thinking up to a certain point. But then there are other factors that can be more interesting and even important sometimes when deciding what you want to do, because we also need to take into account what we want to do in the future of Star Atlas, because the things we can acquire when playing labs will also be used in the future releases like Rec with Combat and Sage V0 and so on. Another important point is that each one of the factions is more efficient building a part of the major recipes because of the distances between locations of the resources, because those distances will be different. And also have in mind that different resources have different weights in cargo. All this may seem to be difficult and complex, but it's actually like chess, for example. Chess is a complex game too. It's easy to learn the basic mechanics, but difficult to be a master. There's a learning curve, training, practice, analysis, and also you have to play with others under pressure and understand what you're doing wrong and what you need to improve. And Labs gives you all these things too. It's pretty easy to get started. You set up your fleets on dock and you go out exploring and mining and you can craft or whatever. And after some trips, you learn and you realize that you can change some things, like change your flight path, or you can use a different recipe, or you can create more fleets to use in different ways so they can perform better in different things. You can learn all this by playing the game. But to master the game, you can try to understand any number of factors and try to understand and dominate the markets, and you can make it as simple or as complex as you want. And that's how you become a master of the game, if you want to. And all this is just the beginning. In the future, there will be combat, and that will bring another layer of complexity, and it's going to be crazy, but addictive too. Now we will have spreadsheet wars, and later we will have ship wars. So in general, some important things are understanding richness and hardness of resources, understanding crafting recipes and the ingredients they need, understanding the map and distances between celestial bodies in the factions, understanding your fleet's data like cargo, fuel, distance you can travel, the different costs, and optimizing what you can, understanding what you want to do in Star Atlas and understanding your playstyle, and in the end, deciding who you want to be in Star Atlas. I'm KeplerNet and this is Nebular TV, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want more. And you can also follow me and Nebular TV on Twitter and also join Nebular TV's Discord server. And see you next time. Thanks for watching.